Hi there, crew members, Starfleet personnel. I hope you enjoyed that little tour of the dorsal section of this model of the original Starship Enterprise. Just going to pull back now and just give you a little bit of a tour, a behind the scenes thing, and also just share with you some of my thoughts around the build and also the function of the dorsal section in the world of fiction. So I set up this little studio here, and all it is some nice big pieces of cardboard. A little bit of a similar situation to the big facility that I built to show you the 1/200 scale model, which is down here on the floor. There it is. previous video there, and I'm just testing out some LED lights for some lighting, but I need to clean this up actually. It's getting a bit need to put that somewhere safe. So back here, this is a 1/100 scale build of the dorsal section. Very happy with this actually. I wasn't sure if I could pull this off, but I'm actually very happy with it. And the reason that I didn't think I could pull it off is not because I have an issue around the model making, but if I turn it around, you know, I'm okay building all the decks like this, the 7 decks, deck 8, deck 9, deck 10, deck 11, deck 12, deck 13 and deck 14, and then this will be 2 stairways leading down to the deck 15 secondary hull strongback. Can't wait to get into that. Okay, but the thing that I was really nervous about is, I mean, I'm not a boat builder, but I really wanted to put on this side, or one side, the outer shell of the hull, just so that we can really recognise and see that dorsal. So we know, I mean, that's just the dorsal of the Enterprise with the windows. But I was very nervous about getting the smoothness of the outer hull. But I'm so pleased because I think I did okay. I think it works really well. The way I did it, there we've got that nice sloping curve at the back of the dorsal there, and the way I did it is it's in 2 parts. So this part here is completely flat, and that was very easy to do. That's just high quality architect modelling board, and that was very easy to do. The challenging part was getting this smooth curving tapering structure at the back, and the way I did that is I built this part first. You see a piece of rounded wood going all the way down the back of the dorsal, and then I got this is literally thin paper laid over an inner structure. And then this also, where we have quite an extreme curvature here, this is also thin light grey paper. But I think when it comes to the massive 1/25th scale build of this, I think I am actually going to talk to somebody who works with fiberglass that can make this whole one side as a single sheet, a very smooth single sheet of fiberglass or something. Anyway, let's move on. Let me just tell you a little bit about this. Here on top, these things sticking up are the massive, super strong support structures that travel all the way up into deck 7 and deck 6. So you can see the marcation there. So this is deck 8 of the dorsal, This would be going into deck 7. In engineering, actually, this is going up into impulse engineering. And then this top one is going into deck 6. So we have a very strong, very big support structure securing the dorsal to the saucer. And I also feel that maybe one or two of these structures might even travel all the way down into the secondary hull. That way. My thoughts around saucer separation. So we all have the idea that the saucer separates from deck 8 and that there's like some kind of explosive bolts or something here on deck 8. But I've had some thoughts about that, and my thoughts are slightly different. Really excited to hear what the comments are going to come in about this one. My idea is that instead of the saucer separating from the dorsal of deck 8, that the separation occurs somewhere in the midsection of the dorsal, like maybe here, like that. So when the separation happens, the saucer section has maybe 1, 2, 3 decks of the dorsal still attached, and the secondary hull still has 1, 2, 3, 4 decks of the dorsal still attached. My thoughts around that is that personally I think it would actually be an easier separation, but also from a practical point of view, could it be that the dorsal section, in an emergency situation that requires saucer separation, could it be that the dorsal section also acts as like an emergency lifeboat? So for instance, say it separates here, let's just say something pretty bad went down in the secondary hull, which requires separation. So basically, all the people that are already in this dorsal, this lower part of the dorsal, can easily make it up into the refuge of the upper part of the dorsal. Okay? And then when the separation occurs, then they can start making their way into the saucer with no stress, no rush. Same thing, if something happens to the saucer where we need a separation, people that are close to this part of the dorsal can easily make it down into the refuge of these levels of the dorsal, and then again at leisure, well, not at leisure, but and then again, without stress, make their way down into the secondary hull and see what goes from there. For those hardcore Trek fans, you will probably also instantly notice that the arrangement of the windows is somewhat different than what we're seeing on the models, on the regular models. The reason for this is that the arrangement of the windows on the outer hull are really answering to what is going on the inside. So for instance, here we've got a large observation area, so there's going to be windows enough for everybody. There's not only going to be 2 windows and then everybody sat down here has to stare out the wall. Okay, so I've put windows in to suit the interior, and my idea is that these windows can be activated or deactivated, kind of, shutters come down or something like that, or maybe the window area is transparent aluminium that can be, blah blah blah. But you can see here a specific example, as somebody is coming up this stairway, and if they want to look out of that window, they do so from the position of standing up. However, if they're sat down in this sofa here under the stairs, this window is slightly lower so that they can also see out of that window. And if I turn the model around, you can see how this translates to the shell. So there it is. So there's a window, these windows are in line, and then there's one here that's slightly lower. And my thoughts are that every time we see the Enterprise on screen, on the show, or wherever, that we always see that configuration of the same windows. And my idea is that that just happens to be how the windows were activated in that particular flyby or whatever. So I don't see those windows as being fixed. I see them as being able to open or close. And now what I'm going to show you is how this dorsal relates to the saucer section, the 1/100th saucer section. There's the relationship of the dorsal to that, and you can see, I mean, the dorsal is, I mean, it's massive, but it's super thin, super thin. So this part of the saucer is at the back, engineering, of course, where the dorsal comes up to meet the saucer. So you can see that this 1/100th scale finished model is also going to be enormous. There's this markation here is the corridor going all the way around the outside of the saucer. Just a few closing thoughts now around the turbo lift. See here, see our three characters, that could even be Kirk in the middle there, walking down this long corridor on deck 8 dorsal, and there right at the end you can see the door of the turbo lift, which is here. Now I've got the vibe that the turbo lift starts here, and it's just a straight line all the way down into the secondary hull, maybe down to deck 22, because deck 23 and deck 24 are pretty much cargo. My idea is that the turbo lift does not stop in the dorsal. Okay, if you're needing to move around in the dorsal, I've put these maintenance, these not maintenance, just these intra-dorsal lifts here, and you can see that we have a crew member in between decks in that intra-dorsal lift. And further down here, yeah, there's another one further down at the back, and there we can see a crew member stepping out of one of the lift on one of the levels. So there's two of these intra-dorsal lifts, okay, because also the dorsal, I don't see many people ever being in the dorsal. It's a lot of the machinery down here, I see it as just automated, and the only time people would come down here is either engineers to just check on this machinery, or people just coming down for a little bit of quiet space in one of the lounge areas like this. And there you can even see one of our crew members at the replicator, maybe getting some nice chicken soup. So I know that the comments are going to come in saying, yeah, but hang on a minute, that's not canon. The Franz Josef plans show that the lift travels horizontally. And then others will come in saying, well, the Franz Josef plans are not canon anyway. And I've just got to say that this build that I'm doing is not canon. I'm actually not even following the Franz Josef or the FASA blueprints either. I mean, very, very, very loosely, maybe a little bit, but basically I'm just imagining the areas of the ship that we never saw in the show, and trying to be as practical as I can around that so that it makes sense. As always, I hope the video finds you well. Do let me know what you think in the comments about this, and also if you enjoy the content, please do subscribe, like, and maybe even share the video. Thank you as always to the patrons. This model, and all of it actually, from day one, what was it, day one, January 24th last year, 2023, all of it is possible because of you folk. Thank you so much for your support, and if you're not a patron, please do consider becoming a patron and supporting this mad, crazy mission to build the biggest, most detailed, original Starship Enterprise in the world. Okay, I think that's enough for this video now. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.